Come on, one. Oh, we got Monty. Gonna need it today. Oh man. All right, I've got lots on the mind, and I haven't seen you in forever.
Like a month.
You've been.
I think it has been.
It might have been a
It's
month.
3 weeks.
May have been. I was thinking about motors. I was thinking about starting out. I was thinking about being younger. I've forgotten that.
Uh-oh, that means you are old.
Yeah, I've been reminded in this particular room with you quite a bit about that. Yes, my age is up there, and you're getting there too.
I
So,
know, dude. I'm putting together stuff at the house right now. Go to bed like I've been hit by a Mack truck.
right? You're like looking at all you. Did everybody get the license plate to
No.
that truck that ran me over?
Exactly.
And I'm thinking, okay, I'm comparing, and now this makes me feel even more old. I'm comparing the young generation that we got going on, and I'm comparing to when I was around that age. And I figure there was a motor that was generated with me and my generation. Um, the family was kind of a unit, and we've heard recently that the unit it's more of a consumption unit nowadays than a economic unit,
I-
which
I heard that talk.
yeah. And so and I'm thinking, okay, even in my era, I never had a yard guy. I never saw a cleaning lady. I never, we had chores. We had, I did laundry for da 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 da. Da. I did the lawn every Saturday. And when I couldn't start the lawnmower and my dad had come by and yank it one time and it'd start every time, every one of us had that experience. Um, I'm not going in the same direction we've gone with this before, but that was like shaming. Like that was shameful. Like I had been sitting there yanking on that thing for however long, and it would get longer and longer
Yeah.
as the times would go on. My old man, when I was 8 years old, had a 250R. Okay, so back in my days here in Arizona, you see all these electric bikes that are doing the wheelies and all that jazz all over the place. Back then, those were ATCs, so three wheelers. The king of all kings, the pristine bike to have was the 250R, the Honda 250R. And my old man was known. He was like Bo Duke. I mean, he was known. So all the dirt roads all around here, because it used to be all dirt road and a bunch of cotton fields, and we'd have a ton of they were dirt canals and all that jazz. I mean, every Saturday we were out riding.
Where my house is now.
Right. Pretty much. It's all rooftop now. And nice rooftops with basketball courts. And a cold plunge.
Needs to be up.
Looking forward to this, I think. Anyhow, old man says to me, he says, if you could start it, you can ride it. Oh, that was a bad thing to say to a very, very, I would say, motivated 8-year-old.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious, very motivated 8-year-old. I'd been watching him roll through the gears. I'd been hearing that. I mean, it was done up. And everybody wanted to be Sonny. Everybody. I mean, the dude it was something else. Anyway, every day after school, I'd go and put 2 feet on that kickstand, because it's a kickstart. 2 feet on that kickstart, and I mean, I'm having a hard time starting a lawnmower, but I'm hell-bent on starting this thing. Well, it had to have been a good year before I got that thing to I'm close. And this is rifling through making sure the gas is on and rifling through some of the little things that you figure out after going so long. Anyway, one day, fires up. Boom. and I'm gone. And it took a good 8 months before I destroyed it. Um, but I was sneaking that thing out every afternoon. But he told me I could ride it, but I didn't want to try that whole thing. So here I am going down the road, feeling like the freest of all free that I've ever been, and I'm mowing the lawns on Saturdays. I'm doing whatever else there is to do in the house, like on my hands and knees doing the wood floors, and all that jazz. Because my mom's crazy that way. She's she still she still is. My mom still is that way. She just had a couple of extra hands on board. She had 6, and I'm the oldest, so I get
You had the little horse whip behind you, and you were
Oh, my mom had beat the crap out of me. My mom was awesome, and I deserved every bit of it. I mean, she broke every antique that she then she'd get more mad that at me
you
because she
caused
broke
her to
the
break something.
It was hilarious. That said, I keep thinking, all right, then let's rewind. 24, 25, 26, 27 years old, starting a law firm. And you have a similar experience. You're 6 months lawyer and you're starting your own gig. And there wasn't a whole lot of sleep and there was a whole lot of hours involved. And I caught you, this is where we met at some point during this grind, sleeping, hiding from the world for a minute, just taking a quick nap.
In the safest park in Mesa, right?
Absolutely. Nothing's ever going to happen at Reed Park. Nothing ever happened. It was before this.
I was super naive back then because I didn't even know where I was taking a 20-minute power nap.
It's where
Until the cop knocked on my window 2 weeks later after you saw me and said, "Don't be in here doing that."
That was really fun. License and registration. It was just so out of place. So, yeah, but I'm from here. They've accepted me. Like I rubbed the right scent on.
Nobody bugged me but you. You were the only one that bugged me.
I couldn't help it. I was prompted. I was prompted. And here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we are. So I remember, going to bed at 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, getting up at 6:30 in the morning and cranking out a day, working 70, 80 hours. Every dime that went out and every dime that came in, I saw personally for a good stretch of years. And so from the age of 23, I'd say, maybe even younger than that, but really probably motor came on at 23 to about 38. There's a motor. There's a grind. There's a there's a go. There's a hunter. And I don't see that now with the 23 to on. I see, there's no longer an are you injured or hurt? If you're injured, okay, let's get that thing x-rayed. Are you hurt? Get back in the game. I don't see it now. And so I've got a questioning generation that are very educated and very knowledgeable on all sorts of crap, but they don't know how to start a lawnmower. They don't know how to. They don't plan from A to B to C to D. They don't. There's none of that because
Whose fault is it?
probably ours.
I think it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny that you bring that up. It's apropos to what I had a conversation with my wife last night. So I ordered this. We have a gym in our house now that we're now trying to put together, and the floor was in, but the equipment wasn't. So I ordered I don't know if those that work out, a Smith machine. Cool piece of equipment.
Paige knows all about the Smith machine.
So I use it a lot at the gym. I'm hoping to use it at home. Ordered it off Amazon, but with anything that you order off of Amazon, you get probably a better deal than having someone come and put it together, all put together. But it comes in boxes, right? And it came in like 40 boxes. These are steel frames and like a legit piece
lot of
moving
equipment. Parts.
Yeah. So Caden had to obviously help me move some stuff, even just into the room to get it done. And then I'm laying it out and whatever else. And my 15-year-old is playing Xbox in the room across from the gym, and he is hearing me struggle apparently. as I'm putting this together by myself, as my kids walk by me and watch Dad in
Right.
there. This is going to be something they're going to use as well.
Hey, Dad,
Yeah, no. And
can I get more time?
I'm blaming them, but I'm not, because it's just, like you said, it's this generation's kind of mantra. And so I'm come upstairs finally for dinner after being down there for 3 hours. And my 15-year-old walks in and says, Mom, I'm willing to just give $100. I looked it up on Google and it's about $150 to pay for somebody to come and put this together. But I'm hearing Dad in there and he's like groaning and grunting. And so why don't we just put some money together and we can get somebody to do this? And funny joke, funny, but he's serious.
Yeah.
But his mindset wasn't, oh, let me put down the Xbox controller and let's find out why Dad's grunting and groaning and maybe I can hold something up for him.
Right.
But it was, who can we pay to do this so that Dad doesn't have to be in there and be in a bad mood?
How can we outsource this?
And so, how can we outsource this? And when I brought that up to my wife later on, I was like, God, we completely failed in that nobody walks by and wants to help, but they're more than willing to spend their own money to have somebody else take the suffering away from me. But, and I kind of just,
nice.
And I told him, look, bro, sometimes I got to be a man and do some stuff. Like there's some rewarding parts of this too.
Yeah.
It would be really nice if you walked in and helped, but I'm always to the point where I feel like my kids are old enough that if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. The forcing them doesn't really, but maybe I should. I don't know. I don't know where that line is.
It was a culture thing.
Yeah.
It was a culture thing. And because I don't think my mom and dad sat down and said, all right, we're going to have Dana mow the lawn, front, back. We're going to have Nate yank the weeds, and we're going to have James tend whatever James did.
And Thomas, he doesn't do it.
Thomas is the different generation. Thomas is the $100 one.
Yeah.
He's the, how do we outsource this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
totally different. Yeah. Thomas came rolling around and was like, I got $100 to help build that Smith machine.
And my kid doesn't have $100 either, so I don't know where he's offering this.
Hey, Mom, can I borrow a hundo?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've got this.
But my kids don't mow the lawn. Like I've got somebody that does it, and so like I said, I wish that conversation with my wife was fully taking accountability of, okay, how do we fix this? Is it unfixable? Is it? I mean, this morning we talked about. Caden's going to listen to this. We're going to have a family meeting tonight, and we're going to have Saturday morning chores. Like we're reinstituting something that you and I grew up with because the house is a little bigger that we have right now, and the cleaning ladies that we had are going to charge us a lot more. So I don't want them to come as much, and so we need to get back to some of our old roots as well. I like it. We'll see how it works.
Please let me know.
Yeah,
we're going to have full accounting on this when Caden's going to let us know. Yeah,
Caden's getting introductions.
He's completely
before you leave, bro.
Because you were the one in there helping him with the Smith machine.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like
he helped me bring down some boxes, and then everybody leaves Dad after that.
Oh, I see. Well, he helped with the boxes.
See, but that's the whole point I'm talking. I didn't ask for help, but everybody sees me doing it. The one even offered to pay for somebody else to do it, but not the thought of actually doing the labor.
I better jump in. Right. So here's what gets me. So I'm having a fair amount of kids. We just took 6 on a vacation. And you say, somebody better start doing these dishes. And I just picked some random anybody. You know, Clint, get your can over here and do these dishes. They're not mine.
Fight like,
they're not mine.
Say, when did dishes become a hard chore? It's 5 minutes. And every one of I'll give Caden credit. He usually is my kid that he doesn't love doing stuff, but he will most likely not complain about it and just do it. But there are other 3, it's like dishes were the worst chore in the whole world. And I'm like, this is a 5-minute chore.
Right. It's wash a plate out.
Literally. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that for sure. It's not their turn, for sure.
Right. They're helpful because they suggest someone else do it.
Yeah.
But they're not helpful in general. So, no, it's not mine. So if it is yours, which... yeah, I guarantee your money back. You got something in there.
Absolutely.
And I don't care whose they are because guess who's going to end up doing them? And none of them are mine.
Yeah. No.
Because when I cook, it's already gone. Yeah. It's already clean. The minute I use it, it's done.
When
it's
I
clean.
walk
it's
in,
put away.
I haven't been there all day, and yet it's my dishes.
Right. And so that's one of my biggest pet peeves. But I'm going to roll this into something that we're not that you might find enjoyable. All right. So we're sitting here and we're looking at, I remember a time during my grind and during your grind where I was on the phone with you possibly, probably half a dozen times a week over a case, asking which way we needed to go um, with a particular charge, so that it wouldn't be sudden death in immigration. And immigration being the changing, um, ever changing situation that it is, you were incredibly helpful with us. And then you would call the other half the times saying, okay, what about this charge we got
Yeah,
here? Is there any way you can do
do
blah, blah,
this.
blah? And I'm like, yeah, send them. I think that's what made the relationship so, because we're not inside a box. We're not pigeonholed in. We're not boxed in. It's like we're thinking, we're four deep chess here. I could maybe do something like
Luckily,
that.
because of that, some of these people are still here.
Yeah. And it's been very rewarding. And, you know, I look back at that and I see my counterparts, the prosecutors or other defense attorneys, and they're stuck in procedure land. They're stuck in, oh, dad's doing that land. They're stuck in the book says land,
Checklist.
the checklist land. All right. Now, it takes an extra bit of mustard, an extra bit of push to be able to pull off what we've done, just you and I,
Mm-hmm.
historically, because we're already check marking all the boxes in our mind, and we're already looking at where's the slivers of, where's the little gates that we can slide through to create or to get to a solution that would be beneficial for your client and my client. Where's that solution? We've already checked all the boxes. We know where this is going. And it made us powerful in our industries. And that I'm looking at it going, oh, okay, so I've got procedural people now. And the best example I could come up with is great. We got this dude named Trump. He's like 78 years old. And he works probably around the clock, literally. And he's a solution guy. He comes from a background of construction. And this has to happen before this, and this has to happen before this, and this has to happen before this. But he's also way down here at the time frame where he wants it done. And he's making the relationships with everything in between so he can get into first place when they finish this job a little bit earlier, or they finish this job just a little bit too late, and he's got a whip to. He's ahead of that. Okay, so this Middle East thing, he goes rolling in there and doing things that has never been seen, and we can at least agree on that. It's never been seen by an American president, and I don't think any American president pulls what he's doing off at all. At least is even in the conversation. And that's interesting to me, that this Trump guy. But it's because he's a solution guy. And he's like, we're not going to change how these people, what do we have in common? What do we have in common? Let's stop trying to get them to believe the way we believe. Let's stop trying to get them to dress the way we dress, or to treat women the way we treat women, or to do. It's not going to happen. And everybody else has always tried to throw a democracy in Iraq. That worked out great. Or to throw, something new in Argentina. I find this interesting to study what's going on there, but we'll take that up another time. And so Congress, you and I have complained a lot about Congress. There's no solutions going on in Congress. There's no bending and, trying to figure something out and trying to pass a law. There's just a bunch of complaining and pointing fingers. And that's been going on for a long period of time. It's more so going on now, but maybe because we see it more. And so we got some charming Kennedy saying something folksy that's funnier than all get out. But, did you just eat an extra helping of stupid this morning? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you get all that, but what good is that doing? Where's the solution? And so we have this president that at a minimum is solution oriented. He's going to he's fixing problems. And are they going to stick? Are they going to stick? Well, conventional wisdom says some yeah, some no. And the reality is because he's not forever there. And so those executive orders are some will and some won't. And so we're living through a moment in time where maybe we're seeing a difference in because there are some politicians that have been there a long period of time, like Rubio. He's keeping up. Bessent, not a career politician, but Tulsi Gabbard seems to be keeping up. Kristi Noem seems to be keeping up. J.D. Vance, I wouldn't call him a lifetimer. I wouldn't. He's just too young to the game. But they're keeping up that pace. They're keeping up the solution-oriented pace. They're going into the United Nations, and he's saying, "You guys suck," and I appreciated it. It's like, look, your borders are wide open. You're funding a war by buying goods from your enemy. You're funding a war. I mean, when he called him out on that, I was like, whoo. And the fact that they're turning off his microphone, the fact that they're, jamming up every which way they can.
Turning off his escalator.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? He had to walk the rest of the way. Walk the rest of the way. I just thought it was funny the way he responded. I just think the dude's funny, but he's solution oriented. And so was I with that 250R. I wanted that thing. I was motivated. I wanted that thing to start. Now they have all this knowledge. They have all this ability, meaning the younger generation. They have all this ability and all this opportunity. But what are they doing with it? What are they doing? I mean, you have a son going to your wife saying, "I got $100. Let's, okay." He's at least there's some thinking there.
Yeah, and some people would argue that, and we've had this conversation too, that there's a definite mentality, and honestly, I can take a lesson from this either, and our parents probably could too. There is some work smarter, work harder comparison that this generation does a little bit better at. Then we were just dude, not our parents for sure were just duty. You just did it. Like I was working on this stupid thing that I was talking about, this gym, and I was using 2 wrenches to try one hold and tighten the other one. And then I'm like, wait, isn't there a tool that you twist around? I don't even, the wrench, whatever, the ratchet, whatever. Yeah. I'll just tell you I was like, wait, that's got to be in the toolbox somewhere. Well, that made my job a lot easier. That wasn't very working smarter. I spent 2 hours doing the hand wrench thing. And so, just an example of there are
Call
some.
Call me over, Westover. Yeah, we could have a grand time.
But the point being is that there is, that there is an argument that some of this stuff with your time versus money and effort and whatever else, there are some more efficiencies, and I've learned that. That's why I don't mow my own lawn and things like that. But that doesn't mean that I don't worry about that work ethic that's going on with the kids. I think Trump, to your point, there's a few things with Trump that I think makes it work. One is he does treat the country like a business, which we haven't had that before. And so it brings its positives and negatives. We get things done, which is surprising and something that we haven't seen before, which is refreshing. He also kind of takes the humanity out of it. And so that can sometimes bring some negative things because there are people's jobs that are being cut and there's people's programs that are being cut, whether you agree or don't. There's humanity to it that I think a lot of politicians took maybe too much into account, or at least somewhat into account. And he doesn't necessarily care much for that. And we'll see what kind of repercussions long-term as far as the country's morale goes on that part of things. But to your point, I think that on the Congress side, there's a balance there that they're so worried about. We've talked about this, their small constituency of lobbyists and money feeders that cause them to not, or their own votes for the next election that cause them not to be solution oriented, which is the complete opposite of what we want. On the immigration side of things, Trump announces this $100,000 fee for our H-1B visas, and now Congress is finally talking about that can't work. And this is on the Republican side. They're going, our own president just did this. And this is going to ruin some sectors of the technology industry. And so now they're trying to, and maybe that's what, Trump doesn't reveal what his strategies are always. So maybe that was like just like his tariff strategy. Hey, I'm going to throw this huge number at, and then that's going to force Congress to do it. I sometimes feel like that's giving Trump too much credit. I think he's just sometimes just says, I think this is going to work, and I think people are going to pay this, which they're not. And so
I don't know,
but
you might be right.
But he might be smarter than I.
He's a builder of grand,
but he is a solution
projects.
Yeah,
and so he wants to get to the end
there might
of the story,
be,
and he knows how to get there. Now he also knows Congress has been sitting on their dead centers forever, and Holman is the one that threw the cards out on the table. So Holman's viewed generally as an Arpaio type or a very strong, law enforcement dude, which, yeah, probably. Okay. But he's like, then change the law. I'll enforce what laws you make.
Yeah. No.
And so the bottom line is, well, wait a minute. You'll enforce the laws they'll make? You mean Congress? You mean what we've been complaining about all this time? And so it takes, okay, we're going to be going after this the only way we can because it's been mayhem for the last
and that's the thing
long time.
About anybody that wants to complain about what political situation you're in right now, whether you feel good or bad about it. I think it ultimately, you can blame Trump all you want, but everyone knows who he is. This is not a lifetime politician where you're wondering, where he's just pandering to whatever and you don't know where his convictions are. And that you could have accused other presidents of not knowing what they actually stood for. This one's not hard to know what he stands for. He's very transparent. And so we don't have to guess what his policies are, what his programs are, what his goals are. So if you don't like it, yeah, you're especially on, my side, immigration or whatever, tariffs, Congress is who you have to blame because ultimately he's just doing stuff to push forward that Congress is ultimately somewhat in control of, or at least a lot of these are. These executive memos if Congress does something, they get wiped away anyway. And so there's no need for them. But yeah, the system we've set up for as long as it takes things to get through things, for the filibusters, for all the pork that gets added to stuff, this has now been going on for 40, 50 years, that it's broken. And so
I'd love to see somebody roll in that represents all 50 states and just says all your subcommittees and committees and all the committees are no longer. Right? You've got a passion for something. You've got plenty of time to work on that. Let's start making laws. What's the most important thing to the American people right now? Okay, first top of the list. Let's see here. It'll be immigration. Let's start working on that. Take about 2 or 3 days. Let's bring in Westover. Let's talk about what might look good here. What's a good, well-rounded policy for our United States of America? Boom. All right, let's put this to a vote. And if you vote yay or nay, why?
Yeah, and they overthink it because, look, ultimately, the president just throws it against the wall to see what sticks. So why can't Congress put something out there that if they have to amend or if they have to change, there's a process to do that. I mean, it goes through the APA or the whatever.
Do you realize you could write the legislation in a day?
And
you could write it in a day. I'm saying you, not them. You could write it in a day. And you know how many amendments it's likely going to need? Very, very, very few.
Because you're going to deal with the issue that you're dealing with, right?
Right.
That's the hard part is that's the thing that people people probably do realize is that the bills can be very simple and they can just, let's say it's an H-1B bill, then it just talks about H-1B, nothing else.
Right.
Not border security, not anything else.
No bleed into just this.
But the problem is you throw something, and we're, again, just the immigration side, because that's where I'm familiar. You throw an immigration legislation there. Well, we can't even mention this unless we include border security. We can't even mention this unless we include some kind of program for DACA or whatever it is. And then it gets so convoluted, it's so mixed up that nobody wants to support it.
Right.
And I mean, DACA, how easy of a solution could DACA have, which it has bipartisan support.
Right.
But because if we're going to concede something on the positive, we want to get something in return.
Right.
And then nothing gets done.
Right.
So,
and then it just stalls.
Yeah. Somebody's got to just compromise and say, okay, I may not get something in return, but because I voted on this, then I'm going to ask for it in the next legislation that comes along and say, hey, I know that it was done before. I know our political system worked before where Congress could get things done.
I would like to see, because you made mention of something smarter, not harder, and duty versus, doing it out of duty. some of these things that we're looking at. I think it bleeds into. Um, I don't think that the old school. The first time I ever heard, "Let's work smarter, not harder." I was a young fellow, 21, 22, and I was being taught, um, being mentored in Chile. And Douglas was his name. Didn't like him at all. We just didn't see eye to eye. But again, he was my mentor, and I respected that. He'd been there longer than me, and we were working and working, working. And he said, "You got to work smarter, not harder." And that ate at me for a couple of days. I'm one to kind of respond very quickly, and unfortunately, and most of the time, I don't completely. I'm not completely off topic, but sometimes you can. This time, I did not respond. It's unlike me in general, and I just thought on it, and thought on it, thought on it, and then he said it again a couple of days later, and I'd been thinking about it for a couple of days now, and I said, it sounds to me like that's what lazy people say. Why don't we do both? And so duty does have a place.
Sure.
And that Saturday morning does have a place. And that, you know, trying to convey, listen, I was down here, you guys all heard it, da 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 da, building this, and nobody asked, "Hey, can I help?" We're a unit. Everybody in this place is going to use this machine. At least I hope everyone does, and so on and so forth. And this is our place to protect from the world. This is our place to be in, safe from the world. It's our refuge, and these are our, from Caden, your oldest, on down to the youngest. This is our army. This is our, protective. This is our protective layer, and so this is what we're about. So to get to that, yeah, there is some duty involved. Yeah, there is some working hard and then realizing, wait a minute, Ratchet might help out here.
Yeah.
And yeah, Congress can sit there and go, what the crap are we going to do? This dude's just going, 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 going. And they can't keep up with what he's doing. Why? And you hit it on the head. They're making things too sophisticated that don't need to be. They're trying to please everybody with one bill. No, let's just focus on DACA. Boom, boom, got that passed.
Focus
Next.
on China tariffs instead of the whole world tariffs.
Right.
Like whatever.
China tariffs. We don't need to worry about Spain's tariffs right now. China. Now I do think that I do think that it's interesting to watch this. It's impossible for me to ignore quite possibly the brilliance that has been on display. I didn't see Greenland being talked about in my lifetime. And we're here with about raw earth minerals, and we've got this Ukraine thing and then Greenland chatter, both of which threaten our need for Chinese raw earth. And Trump's been talking about it since the day he put his hand on that Bible.
He's not dumb. Like sometimes orally and sometimes the way he presents himself, we've talked about, he's not the most articulate or
diplomatic.
Politically correct or he's not a polished politician. But he's not dumb.
No.
And he's getting, love him or hate him, he's getting way more done than most.
Right. And we needed it, and we need the shake of Congress to kind of wake up and go.
That's the thing that I hope
solution.
That there's still the president still looks at it as a business. I think Congress has the opportunity to look at all of this, both with the business side of things and an element of representing their state and their constituency, which is what they're paid to do ultimately, and bring kind of a balance to all of this. I just have a little faith that they're going to freaking do it.
Problematic is we both have the same amount of faith. I want to be the optimist, and most of the time, funny enough, I kind of am. But here, when it comes to Congress,
It's
Man,
just historically, and maybe our hope is that historically the executive branch has been somewhat the same. But I think Congress has forced this even, whether Trump or anybody else,
they've
the executive
abdicated.
orders have increased
Right.
so much over the
Right.
last 30 or 40 years, or 20 years, probably since Obama is kind of the big one.
Yeah.
That Congress kind of forced that. Like,
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, Obama's DACA program, when we mentioned that, was a result of Congress not doing anything on immigration for 30 years. And
Right.
so he threw something out there, and then we've had all kinds of other different.
So we're still working on 1952 law.
Yeah.
And so here we are in 1952, they did something. It probably needs to be significantly updated. And you and I have talked about solutions to this that would make sense to most voting Americans. And I just want to see a little bit more working harder and smarter, because they've got the smarter thing down. The younger generation has the smarter thing down. But I can't believe, looking back at the wartime, at, it was go, go, go. It was hunt, hunt, hunt. And then you put your head up. At some point, you have something. At some point, you have something going, and then at some point, the 14, 15, 16-hour days are not necessary. And you start to allocate your time in a much more intelligent way, in a smarter way. And you're getting probably twice as much done as you were when you were working those 80-hour weeks in a 32-hour week or even a 20-hour week, interestingly.
But both of us are going to say that and we've talked about this in a previous podcast, that grind still was extremely valuable to us. And I think that's where your probably point is that the generation that you're seeing being raised right now may not be doing that initial grind to be able to then work smarter. And so that work harder never gets implemented. It's always work smarter. And then there's a lazy work ethic. And I struggle with that as a parent. Like I don't know where I failed. I mean, I don't know. I try to put a finger on it, and maybe it's not making them do the lawn and some of these other things from a young age. I don't know if I look back and go, the lawn was the thing that made me. But somewhere I learned a work ethic, and I don't know where it was pinpointed to.
Was it earning merit badges? Was it earning what was it? Because that back then, that's what we did.
But I didn't. The whole point of my small example of doing something that everybody's walking past me, watching me do, that wasn't something somebody was helping dad out in my family, or usually mom.
Right.
My mom would say that she was the one doing most of the household,
And
even mowing the lawn.
She probably was.
She was. My dad's not the most handy, but there was a work ethic being taught there, and I love my kids, but there is a lazy element to them.
Yes. There is a time wasting element to them because the options available to them
and
are
it makes me angry, and that's unfair to them that I watch them on screens. I don't have a solution for them other than, and I don't think the solution is put down your phone and start mowing the lawn type of thing. I don't know that's going to get me anywhere, but it starts to bother me when they're watching me do something and they're playing on their phones or on their computer or playing Xbox, and it's like oblivious. It's not even that they're purposely doing it. Like, they're not trying to give me the bird, but it's literally not even in their thought process. Yeah.
I mean,
which that's where I have a problem with.
Tote those things down.
And like I said, Caden's, I'm going to bag on him a little bit because he's part of the same unit that just watches dad and mom do stuff a lot of times.
Yeah, sure.
But and mom sometimes is a do-it-yourself time type of thing. But the point being is, look, Caden, anytime Caden's that, like, his point at the beginning was, nobody asked me, and he's, to his credit, he will do things when he's asked. But my mom always grew up saying, why do I always have to ask you? That was a statement that was made in my family all the time. Do I have to ask you to do something when you see something that needs to be done? And it took, maybe 15 years for me to realize that growing up. So maybe I still wasn't the best, but she still reemphasized, no, I don't have to ask you. Get your butt up and start
Right.
to do it. And maybe
How
it's because
ma-
we didn't have so many distractions. I don't know.
My old man came in one time. This is a good one. Sonny comes in one time. Oh, was he ticked that he found out that I was taking his bike out at some point. I got in some deep, but then again, he was kind of proud.
Yeah.
And I got myself a new bike out of the deal. I had to earn that though, and I had to read a reading book and pass it with a. Anyway, it was tied to a school thing. And so that said, okay, he drags me out of bed, and it was probably. I mean, he was out the door at 4 a.m. So it was before then, and he kind of yanks me up, turkey trots me over to the front door. He goes, "How many times have you walked by this?" I have, and there's a couple of pairs of dirty, muddy shoes right there. How many times have you walked by this? I've been walking by it for the last 3 days. How many times have you walked by it? Because we both know I'm here far less than you. And here it is, not even 4 a.m. yet. Why do I have to ask you? Are those my shoes? Are those mom's shoes?
God.
And I was like, and look, they could have been my shoes. They could have been my brother's shoes. It didn't matter to him.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to be the one leading out in his mind, and he didn't have my other two brothers along with me. I find this to be probably
You're the captain, man.
apparently.
Remember we talked about I ran when somebody didn't show up to practice. I hear it.
Yeah. Right.
No,
You
no,
know how it goes.
and you're right. It's probably the most. If I have something that I could pinpoint as the most, there's two things that really bother me as a father that get my blood boiling. One is, and this kind of has to do with the same thing, accountability. So the dishes aren't mine, or
Oh.
I didn't do this and it's not my fault. Instead of just saying, sorry. I mean, literally our conversation, I tell my kids all the time. You tell me when I'm lecturing you and you say, my bad, I'll make it better, or I'll fix it. Conversation's 20 seconds long. But once you start, well, but this happened and this happened and this happened, it just irks my whatever. Just take care of it. Like I'm a Trump solution. You did this, fix it. I'm cool. Like that's it.
Let's go.
Let's go. We're done. So
Yeah,
that
we can hold hands,
drives me
sing
nuts.
kumbaya, and enjoy some chocolate cake later.
It's so easy, and it's so easy to keep me pleased. Just own your crap and move on. Right.
What?
And I have one kid that'll do that, and Caden's a little older, so he's past that. But my second oldest is pretty good about that, and our lectures are very short. But the other thing that really chaps me is your Sonny. The same thing. Like my kids, they have a couple of gathering rooms, and they will eat where they're not supposed to, and they will drink where they're not supposed to. But that's neither here nor there. That's another rule violation. But whatever. But that garbage stays where they're at, or if it does end up in a garbage can, it ends up in the bathroom garbage, which is about this big, right? And it starts to overflow, and it's on the floor.
And it's perishable
And
things.
it's, sure, it's snacks and fruit cores or whatever
half
else.
a drink, soda.
They'll go in, pee, poop, do whatever, and it's just floating
there.
in garbage, and zero thought process. Maybe I'll empty this garbage. Number one, I wasn't supposed to have it down there. Number two, and yet, again, I have to come down and say, I haven't been down here for 4 days. Why is this overflowing? Oh, well, I guess I can do that. Why didn't you have the wherewithal to think about
Why does someone have
doing
to point
it
that out?
3 days ago?
Right.
Yeah. Why does somebody have to point that out, that that's not okay? Why is the plate next to your bed with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that has ants all over it? Why didn't you think that that was a good idea to go throw it away? We found food in Mr. Caden's room just the other day. So I mean, this is, none of my kids are immune to this. They eat in their rooms.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why does mom and dad have to come in and say, this would probably be a good idea? It's just, I don't know.
Well,
And I don't know if it's a
I'm
brain
interested-
thing. I don't know if it's a laziness thing.
I think it's lazy. And the problem is, and then it also isn't back to the grind, back to the hunting season of your career build. You know where every toggle is, every switch is. And there are inevitably different switches that appear, but you've been doing the switches thing for so long. Oh, this one. Oh, that one. You're basically blindfolded with the ones that you've created in your hunt, and the ones that are newly created as things move along. Um, you've got just as much wherewithal to you. We're much better at dealing with it, that's smarter. But we worked so bloody hard for that switchboard. Um, that we know exactly which buttons to push. And most of the time, we're still using those buttons. Most of the time. So now I got a question for Caden. So we're going to need the microphone because I want to know whether or not that works first. I might have to figure that out because that's just one thing they do well.
Right over there.
Yeah, I think it's the one just right there. Caden, how are we going to get? I think it might be on mute.
Left us.
I don't know. I think he can figure
Does this one
out.
actually work? Okay, this one works.
Yeah.
All right.
For the wrong one.
You got to sing in it. You can dance if you want to.
This is mic 4. It's going through mic 3. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, all right. Well, you figured it out. It's something. It's working. It's going up and down when you talk.
Yeah.
Awesome. How can we, because you're from a generation that is very, very knowledgeable. You're coming at what, 19, 20 years old?
Almost 20.
Almost 20. Okay. So I was pretty close to right. 19, 20.
Right there.
Right on. So you're almost 20 years old. You probably know 100 times more things than I did at 20. At least.
Yeah, as far as their knowledge.
At least your knowledge base is very, very large. I've been 20. I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of exposure to a lot of things. Politics, I didn't know a bloody thing. I probably could have told you that Clinton was the president. I didn't know much about the separation.
Especially Caden. He's versed in world politics, not only just U.S.
Yeah,
politics.
There's a knowledge base that you possess that I did not possess at 20 years old. How can the old crew, the duty bound, like your dad was talking about, Jesse was saying, look, my parents did things out of duty. They just did it because you did it. All right. You folded the towels right as they came out of the dryer every time, or whatever the case might be. And now our generation, mine and your dad, Jesse here, our generation is, okay, we can put them, in a basket for a minute or two. We'll get to that folding when
we're half and half, right?
Yeah, we're a little bit half and half duty and half work harder, smarter thing and all that jazz. How can we help your very bright generation, but very, very quick to not do
that duty? Yeah, duty's not as
not a lot of duty, not quick to go. Like, for example, if you're sitting there, you're thinking this way. I'm thinking that you are anyway. I'm going to go with this. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. I very well may be, but we'll try this. You're over here and you live on Rittenhouse and whatever. And the nearest Taco Bell that you're feeling, the little Taco Bell, and you've been working all week, you got money in the bank, and you're feeling a little Taco Bell, and you're like, it's going to take me 22 minutes to get there, 22 minutes to get back. It'll cost me an extra $7 to Grubhub it. The fuel is going to be this and that. I'm just going to Grubhub it. Would that maybe cross your mind like that the way I just broke that down?
Yeah, I did that last night. Well, I didn't DoorDash last night. I just drove to a Jack in the Box, but it was like about midnight, and my friend had ordered like a certain menu item off of like the Jack in the Box menu, and he DoorDashed it. I'm like, man, it sounds really good right now. So I just kind of like got up and drove and
he just tells me this on the way over, and I'm like, we have snacks in the house, bro. Why didn't you just walk out of your room? And
so you're feeling Jack. You're feeling Jack, man.
At midnight, he left.
It was like specifically like, I want that.
So maybe this,
like,
I don't know where you're going with this, but this example is pretty apropos.
This is very interesting to me, though, the way that they break things down. Because I wouldn't have thought at that time, at 20 years old, they didn't have things open that late. B, the gas calculation and all that. What I was trying to really get drilled down on was calculating the distance, calculating the time, it's just going to be a little bit smoother, easier
If
to
you
DoorDash it.
Dude, kids are ordering DoorDash to their school. Like Campo, at where my kids go, they have like 100 DoorDash people that come every lunch. Yeah. So of this generation.
They did not even let us do that, man.
No.
Like,
So
that's a new
we
thing.
wonder why 70% of our male population cannot qualify health-wise for the military. This is how we wonder it. But they can do the math and they can fly the drones like nobody's business, but they can't qualify health-wise. So my question is, how do we
balance that?
Yeah, how do we balance it with you guys?
How do we teach you
how do
a
we
work
help?
ethic without sacrificing that, hey, Dad, this is really stupid. There's a better way to do this. Does that make sense?
So you have the knowledge.
So,
you have it.
So you're saying
So
that,
Logan,
like,
for example, Logan's example of watching Dad struggle, hey, I'm willing to give $100 so that Dad doesn't have to struggle. His was just on let's work smarter. But how do we balance? Well, Logan, you probably need to learn how to use a wrench. Like
If
this is
three
an
boys-
opportunity to work.
If 3 boys came in and started helping you with the Smith machine, it would have made
That
lighter
8-hour
work.
project maybe becomes 4 hours.
Right. So we're saying, okay, there's that side of things. And to me, that's, okay,
So
how do we
Let me
inspire?
ask a question.
Yeah.
Do you value working hard? Just honestly.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like I put like a lot of effort into whatever I do. It also just depends, like if there's purpose behind it. Because if somebody just
That's the key, I think, too.
Mhm.
purpose,
Do they
yeah.
like it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna just do something to do something if I'm not like.
But do you
Okay,
see
I
value in
need-
just like I've accomplished a task, even if it wasn't something
Well,
you
yeah, no, but it's
like?
also like it's not gonna be. Okay, so for example, you tell me to like dig a 6-foot hole just to dig a 6-foot hole. There's no reason to really be doing
yeah,
that.
no, and I'm not
I get
necessarily
that.
telling
if it's
you.
like oh, you need to do like this to accomplish this, it's going to cause this, like this needs to be done and it will benefit somehow.
So does it
in the
have to?
future.
So that's a good
Or-
question.
or it's
so,
just like-
so,
Mhm. Yeah.
so maybe the suggestion is we have to kind of give them a reason, like
Yeah.
a purpose behind it. Now, what if that? Now, let me ask you a question. What if that purpose? Because what I think part of our challenge as dads and is somehow the family unit, and you talked about this right at the beginning, which was interesting. They're consumers, not
Right.
part of the unit, and that this is I know where you kind of got that from, and that particular speech that was given really hit me as well, and I kind of readjusted how I wanted to do things, and part of that was why is there not an identity to the unit? So why is it that they're not taking pride that they're part of the family unit that gets things done? So and Caden's point is well taken, and I see that with my kids.
Yeah.
What benefit does it have to me individually? Not what benefit does it have to the unit? So let's say I say, Caden and Colton, I want you to help me paint this fence, which is to our house. But they go, well, I don't care about the fence.
Right.
They don't see the value of, oh, this is to improve our entire family unit home.
Right.
But it's what
see a
value.
fence
But
that
if
they
I
don't
said,
care.
hey, I want you to paint this fence so that you can shoot your gun against it and you can put a target there, then maybe, oh, there's motivation there. It benefits me in somehow.
Yeah.
So where do we help you guys see that the family unit working hard for the entire unit is valuable? Does that make sense? So it may not benefit you individually where you can quantify, hey, this is going to benefit me. But if I mow the lawn, we have a beautiful yard as a family unit. So we work as a group. So in the military, something may not benefit you individually, but as a group, you're trying to accomplish a task.
Or in basketball.
In a company, in
or
a basketball,
yep.
whatever, individually, when you go to work, for me, you're not necessarily benefiting yourself by doing this client's case, but you're getting paid because the entire unit. How do we instill that there is a value to accomplishing something that helps a unit and doesn't just benefit yourself.
I think it genuinely depends on what the unit is.
Mm.
Because there is plenty of people that work to benefit a larger unit. I've met a lot of people that work to benefit like a group, like a personal, like a hobby group or whatever. Like I've volunteered to help out like struggling small businesses because I go there regularly and stuff. Um, I don't know. I think it's genuinely just like if you like have a sense of identity and belonging to a group, then you will work to benefit the entire group. If you do not, then
Then you
why
guys,
should I care?
yeah.
Mm.
And
That's
so maybe
interesting.
that's where, back to the
Yeah.
speech that we're talking about, maybe that's where we're not failing, but maybe that's where we need to reemphasize is
Yeah,
that
maybe we need to focus
there's a
on
function
that.
here that we're all working for the same goal, and you
Yeah.
guys are part of it. And maybe there's a reward element of showing that unit is valuable. Maybe there's, but I'm with you. I'm genuinely curious how
too.
you reinstill that value, but maybe
I'm
it's that
wondering-
identity of that unit that has kind of dissipated because we're all got so many activities and whatever else that it's not a functioning unit and it's all its individual pieces.
I'm wondering how we get to, and this might require Caden to respond again because I'd like your take on this. How do we get to? So I had a conversation. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just get to it. Where do you want to be in 10 years? And would you give me a little bit of time between this conversation and the next conversation when I ask you, where do you want to be in 10 years? So I can give you some time to think on it. Where do you see you in 10 years? And then you tell me whatever that might be, right? I want to do this and this and this and this. I want to look like this, this and this and this. Okay, fine. Okay, that's great. Well, what if I told you that's an impossibility given the habits that you have right now? But if you were to do a few things, you would get to where you want to go, wherever that might be. You make your bed every morning. You think, what the Sam? I'm just going to sleep in it then at the same night. Make your bed every morning. Do something physical every day. Eat mindfully.
I get what
right.
you're saying. So you're putting
Wash your car
you're putting
every
purpose,
Saturday.
your purpose behind their duty.
Yeah.
Which is I spilled it. Which is what exactly clean up.
This is
aisle
pretty
6.
clean.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly, dude. The point that he was making that if I see some kind of value to it, and maybe we're not good about explaining that value, it sucks because our
Right.
parents just told us because,
Right.
and we did
Because
it.
I said so.
But we obviously know that that's not working right now.
That's
so we
not gonna
gotta
work.
Make an adjustment. So I get what you're saying. That's
So
interesting.
I'm going to tell your generation, if you do these things, you're going to have to force it at the beginning. And then you can't stand looking at your bed unmade. It comes a day where you cannot stand looking at your bed unmade. I cannot stand. I make our bed every bloody day. And sometimes Paige chips in, but for the most part, I can't stand not seeing a made bed. I don't know why. I've been doing it for so long that it just is. I lay out my clothes the night before. Because I don't want to have to think about what the Sam I'm wearing tomorrow. Okay, whatever. I wash my car. Yes, there are car washes. I'm familiar. I would love to do that. I don't like to eat healthy all the time. I like the cheese fries with bacon on them with ranch. That sounds really good for lunch, doesn't it? But salad and go it is. You know what I mean? But if you do these small things, you force yourself to wash your car. You're going to see a value in yourself by doing that. You're going to see a value in yourself by keeping your room dialed in, making your bed, making sure it's your domain that represents you, who you are. Your clothes are hung up a certain way, so on and so forth. There's a certain order that you elect to choose to do. Now, if you do those things, you will achieve.
You'll see the value in being organized, being
Yep.
clean, and how your brain functions when things are organized and clean and not chaotic. Oh, I get it, and I think it's an awesome point, and I guess that's the key is teaching them and them seeing the value in doing
What
those things.
ultimately happens is then we've got that younger brother of his, and he walks by younger brother's room, and it doesn't look anything like Caden's room
Because younger
anymore.
brother's even less. I mean, the worst of them all.
Right. And Caden's going to go, how can you live like that?
Hopefully.
And then younger brother sees Caden's room, car, and the way he does things, and he's going to go, what crap is happening there? Da, 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 da. It will absolutely, it's contagious within yourself. I started making my bed. I didn't have to. I started making my bed because I saw my mamita on my mission. We live with families. And we had, and they would make our beds, and we had small beds. And I've never had a better made bed since or ever before. And I had to make my own bed growing up. There was that. And so it wasn't abnormal to me, but to see an elderly lady making my bed made me feel bad. At the very beginning, when I very first started out there in Chile. And so I decided right then and there, I just came up with a harebrained idea. I'm going to try to make it better than she does, because I knew she was going to make my companion's bed. I never beat her, and I never even came close, really. But she would always comment, you got a little closer today, da-da-da-da, that kind of thing. And it bonded she and I together. But that's what got my clothes set out for the next day. That's what got this making a bed.
Patterns.
It just started a pattern of taking care of my things. I don't like to wash my car. It's like takes an hour out of my Saturday, and I don't have a lot of free time. But it's the fact that, you know what? And every 4 or 5 months, I get it really done well by Matt, the car wash dude. That's fantastic. However, I keep that inside to where you can eat off the floors. I never eat in my car ever, and because I clean it.
Yeah, and there's a point that I've been. I mean, again, Caden gets to take the wrath of it because he's here, but there's an element of pride that my kids don't have in that. Yeah, like, and Caden and he's adjusting and he's doing an admirable job of like, hey, okay, you work at an office now, comb your hair. You have to come with a certain, clothes because there's clients that see you, and this generation, for whatever reason, they have such a laissez-faire kind of, who cares, because most of them are just on their computers all day and they don't have to interact with people. They don't see the value in how they present themselves and how people view them. And I get that can be a good thing of it not. I mean, they'll say, why does it matter what I think
that's incorrect. I actually think that's wrong. A lot of, like, everyone I know really does actually care about the way they look. They just don't want to look like how everyone else wants them to look. They present themselves in a way that they feel fits themselves. They would rather do that, and they would rather other people do that. I would rather other people do that. Honestly,
but that's not how the world works.
I would trust a salesman more if he was not dressed in a suit and tie trying to talk to me and sell me something. If he was legitimately just like looked like a normal dude, I would trust him more. If I see someone in formal attire, I'm like, this guy wants to get something out of me. This guy wants to benefit off of me somehow. I'm not going to trust anything he says.
So I think there's a balance to what Caden's saying in the sense that I'm not saying, yes, there is a suit and tie generation that's probably starting to, and you're one of the few that, even me, I'm less formal than you. There's a suit and tie generation that's starting to come to the wayside a little bit. There is a more casual generation. Mm-hmm. However, where I disagree with him is I also don't trust the homeless guy that shows up looking like he hasn't showered for 4 days. And so I think there's a balance to all of that, because there's some self-pride, because like you talked about, the making the bed, that shows that you're going to get, if you can get up and make your bed and comb your hair and brush your teeth, that shows to me that you can actually, the thing you're selling to me, you're actually going to deliver on.
Right.
But if you come with your looking like you haven't showered and whatever else, I don't think that you're actually selling me something legitimate. Right. So whether he agrees or not, there's the world that doesn't work that way.
Well, the generation's going to find out that
you walk into a dirty restaurant, you're not eating there. So
they're going to find out, and to respond to that a little bit, you're going to find out that the salesman doesn't care whether or not he sells anything to you, because you don't have any money. He wants to sell to him.
Yeah. And I'm the one that wants to see
And
somebody
he's
that
the
looks
one,
like.
and we're the ones saying to very bright, young, capable people, you want to be that?
Clean
It's
up
how
your-
you get there.
Yeah.
You get there, ladder, step. You might want to feel expressive to wear this particular color or this particular head shave on one end and this thingy on the other. You might not fit in a law firm because of that. Okay. And so you might want to think about that before you do it.
But you're going to pigeon yourself into certain careers and certain
Right.
things because
you're going to limit yourself
Yeah.
because of your pride. The reality is your hairdo does not define who you are.
Yeah.
What you wear does not define who you are. That's what you're saying in general is it doesn't define you. You are right. You are right. But the way you present is presenting respect. Yeah. And whether you respect someone or not.
or respect yourself
And
at certain points.
And it all begins making the bed. Whose bed is it? It's yours. Keeping your closet dialed in. Whose closet is it? Yours. Your domain. Start there. Your car. Whose car is it? The one that you're driving. Start there. Wash it. Force yourself to do some of these things. Force yourself to make 50% of your meals. Force yourself to do that. And if you do that at this generation with the knowledge that you guys have, with the can-do that you people have, that's just fallen out of the sky and you're very capable, you're going to get to where you want to go. And then when you can call your shots, they'll be interesting because we can kind of call our shots right now. And it's like, I kind of still like the buttons and the dashboard that we've always known.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, that's how you get there. That's how you unlock that mass potential in between your ears. And
this generation, Caden's
and-
generation is going to have to be careful because they
Yeah.
do have a very, and like I said, this is the great part about a podcast. We can agree to disagree and we can debate. And that's why we loved, the Charlie Kirk situation.
Yeah.
I don't mind if Caden disagrees with me and says, no, that's not how I want it. That's not how I view the world. The thing that I think that this generation has to be careful of is they're so prideful with that. Let me be me. Let me be an individual. It shouldn't matter whether I have my hair combed or whatever else. If they don't win their argument, if they don't ultimately change the entire culture of the United States, they're going to find themselves in 15 years jobless. And if the whole culture doesn't change, if you can sit behind your computer in your pajamas and your boxer shorts, which I don't think it's going to do, I think it's actually starting to revert back.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 6 months,
pants are starting to become required again.
Yeah. Hey, here's our identity. Let's clean up our reputation and whatever else. This lazy thing that you're talking about is no longer working as a country.
Right.
If they're not careful, this whole attitude is going to put them in a very big hole that they're going to not be able to climb out of. When you're looking a certain way, and like I said, it doesn't define who you are. You can be an individual, but there is throughout society, there has been some kind of conformist of, look, when you want to demand respect, you need to look like you can command respect. And that has started to become a real battle for some of them. And they're going to have to be careful that they don't lose out on a bunch of opportunities. Yeah. Because I'm still the one that's hiring you guys.
Right.
You don't understand that. Like,
and that's not going to change for a lot of years.
There's a 23-year-old entrepreneur that makes it on his own that's doing AI. I get it. But you're going to pigeon yourself into a very video game designer. In the artsy field, you can get away with a lot of this stuff. But there's 78, 90% of the world.
It's like becoming a rock star.
That's still going to hire you. And if you show up with the way you present yourself with this attitude of, I don't care, you're not going to get hired.
We're looking for someone that wants to work hard, that wants to learn, that wants to grow, and wants to add to. So you want to go far. So to narrow what you just said down, perfectly spoken. If you want to go far, if you want to go faster,
for sure.
If you want to go fast,
you don't want to slow yourself
down.
Go
alone. If you want to go far, go as a group. And so learning to play with others, learning that group, like you're talking about with your family. That's a group.
Yeah, and each one is individual, and they each bring their own talents.
Right.
But at certain points, they have to come together and work together as a group.
It's the learning point, or it's the learning spot of how to contribute to a group. All right? To where you can take that and take it to a basketball team or take it to a workplace or take it to whatever.
And
Go far.
isn't that what
as a group.
made our country great in the first place?
Yes.
And that's what we're losing is that even if we go back to the beginning and we're a country of immigrants that came from all kinds of different sizes, places, races, colors, whatever. We are the experiment, right?
Yep.
They called us the experiment.
Yep.
And that experiment has been awesome
Yep.
for 200 years. It's starting to struggle a little bit.
Mhm.
And maybe that's what we're hoping to get back. But all of those were individuals that brought their own, but there was a common goal. There was a common moral compass. There was a common direction that
Yeah.
each one was going. And so that's why it functioned and worked. Each one could be individual, but there was still a common standard where, yeah, you can be individual to a point, but you've still got to conform to be able to meet a common goal.
Yeah.
And now we're so worried about being individual and unique
And
and
not being
fighting
part of
against that man
Right.
that we ended up, this generation's going to struggle if they don't realize that there's a balance between.
Yeah. They're aiming while they're shooting
Like,
themselves
I
in
don't
the
feel like because I have to wear a shirt and tie or dress nice that it's really causing me any pain. But for
Right.
whatever reason, this generation sees pain in that.
Yeah.
Like, why? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's just the way things are. And so that doesn't mean that at home I can't put my sweat shorts back on
Yeah.
and be a certain way or whatever else. If you are a goth at night and a lawyer by day, have at it.
Have at it.
It's,
I enjoy Caden's straightforward candor. I enjoy that he's straight at it,
Yeah,
and he gets at it. He doesn't mince words. I like that. I like that you heard me when I said, make your bed, wash your car, do a few things, and you will get. You seem like, okay, that you at least listen to it. You will get to where you want to go with those tools. Learn to be a contributing force in a group. And the family unit is the first family unit that you learn that with. But then there's other units outside of that you will be part of. And if you choose well, those units where they're going.
in order to succeed, you're going to have to work with other people.
Yeah.
And I
You're
think
gonna
that
go
generation
so
just
far.
loses it.
I know.
That they're so worried about their
he's so
individual
smart.
benefits and their individual like uniqueness
Yeah.
that they lose sight that no
Well,
matter
th-
what,
this
you're going to
happened
have to
in
work
the
with other
60s
people.
and kind of bled into the 70s and then kind
It
of
reverted back and-
recycled. I mean, here we are.
Well, because
but-
those 60s and 70s guys didn't get anywhere.
Right. It's true.
Unfortunately,
It's true.
like the hippies that lasted
They didn't
5
go
or
to-
6
yeah,
years, and then they
had to get a-
realized,
then they had to get
holy
a haircut.
crap, I got to
and-
get a haircut.
Yeah.
And that's
This is true. And so there are certain truths in the world, but and working smarter is a very good truth. But knowing how to work hard is also huge. And going further as a group, that's a truth. You're going to go faster as an individual on your own. You'll go faster, but you won't go as far. You want to go far, you go as a group. And so,
that's why there's a marital unit. That's why there's a family unit. It's,
Yeah.
it's inherent in human nature.
and we're getting
It's just
away. The more we
just
get
have
away
a
from it,
really big fight
the
against
quicker
it.
it starts to sink. And yeah, we do have a fight against it. And it's because we're solo. A lot of us are lonely and solo. And, a screen just isn't as good as a hug.
Yeah, we could all revert it back to technology and good and bads of the isolationist society that we.
But I love that the knowledge and how out there, he's just out with it. I love that.
and if they
Caden'll
can
just say,
combine the two, they're
boom.
going to be unstoppable.
absolutely.
But they
like
just fight so
superpower.
hard against.
Just a superpower. And so I'm just saying, I challenge just a little bit. Just make the bed, take care of your room. I'm not your mom and dad. I don't care. Make your bed, take care of your room, whatever bathroom scenario you got going on. Make sure your spot in it, or if it's just yours, make sure that it's pristine. Everything that you do, that you touch, your car looks good inside. When I hire somebody here, I don't care as much. You might be surprised to hear this, what they wear. Most of the time they bring, they're dressed to interview for a law firm. Okay. While I have them filling out a little complete who cares form, I never even look at it.
Resumes.
A complete who cares form. They're just sitting there. I don't care. I'm in the.
I'm hiring personalities. I'm hiring a person. Yeah,
Yes,
I get it.
I'm in the parking lot looking in their car window. I want to see what the car looks like because that's their work ethic.
Yeah. And to me, it's similarly, it may not be the car. I'm looking on social media. obviously, to see what
Yeah,
they're doing. And they're,
I got my staff
I'm
doing that.
I'm also, can you talk to me?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much lack of social skills with this generation and with new people that if you can't get through an interview and just have a general conversation, like I like to take people out to lunch so that we have an hour just shooting about your family. And
Interesting.
if you can't discuss it
Interesting.
with me. I have zero interest of whether you went to Harvard. If
Yeah.
you can't have a
Right.
conversation with me, I have zero interest.
Yeah.
So,
Because he knows more than the graduates of Harvard just a few years
Sure.
back. I mean, at 20
but can
years
he
old,
articulate it and can he have a conversation?
I promise you do. Don't cut
I don't
yourself
know
short,
about-
brother.
I don't know
Don't
about
cut yourself
Harvard.
short, brother.
I go to a community college.
Don't cut yourself short, brother. I'm telling you, the knowledge that you have rolling around, that you've been exposed to, just by mere virtue of this culture that we live in.
Sitting through
It
these
is
podcasts.
absolutely-
He's
yeah,
one of the
just-
few. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you know things that I didn't even know to think on when I was 20. It's awesome. Now I'm sitting here saying, make your bed, take care of that car, because I'm looking at your car. I'm looking at it. Some chick someday that you have really kind of might want to hang out with is going to be looking at it. And that's a habit that you've just made that just became you. Okay. When Paige and I have been married for a while now, and she knows no food in the car. And she knows I clean it. And when I find like a popcorn thing it does. That said, our cars stay nice for a long period of time. I just feel better in a cleanly type way. I like to be put together because I don't have control over many things, but I have control over what time I get up. I have control over making my bed. I have control over, making my, setting up my things the night before to where I'm just pretty efficient in the morning because I'm a putterer. I putter around. I'll waste a lot of time. And so I don't like to be that. And so I just hang this crap up and put it on and go.
And back to one of our other, and maybe this is the closing thought, back to one of our other podcasts of like the mental illness part of things. And we talked about why is there a rise of that in this generation, and why is it more prevalent? Is it food? Is it diet? Is it culture? Whatever else. Maybe there's a part of that. Like this generation hasn't figured out that when you do these things, just the small things that make your life feel organized and in control, then that anxiety starts to dissipate a little bit.
Yeah.
But the more chaos you put around yourself, and part of it's just, well, why does this matter? Because you've never given yourself a chance to do it for a consistent amount of time and see the results of that, to see that, organization, when I don't have to worry about this, and it's one less thing on this brain that's constantly worried about, that I don't have my mom nagging me to make my bed, that I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing, that I don't have to wake up with 5 minutes to spare and run to work. When I put myself in these routines that seem monotonous and seem pointless, but when I start to do it and create these habits, that the anxiety starts to dissipate, that I'm more organized, I have more time to do the things that are really causing me stress.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it.
Once upon a time, I think you're onto it. I think you're right on. I think once upon a time I saw that I hated being in a hurry, and it definitely impacted the rest of my day.
Yeah, your mood and everything else.
And so I planned the day before, and I'm not a long-term planner. I do that once in a while with a group.
Yeah.
But as far as a personal, I plan the day before, and I take care of those small things best I can because I have control of them. And you're right. There's an emotional gratification to it. So I'm going to say, just make your bed. Take care of your space, your stuff, your domain of what you have control of. And then the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster with the junior college, whatever college. Your knowledge base is going to be taking you wherever you want to go. Okay. The only thing in your way is you.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that Caden's comment of the junior college, to be honest with you, like I said, I don't look at resumes. I need you to have graduated from law school if I'm hiring you as a lawyer. That's just, but I really don't care what law school you went to.
Me neither.
Because your skill to me is your work ethic, how you present yourself. But if you come in looking like you went to Harvard, and some of these Harvard guys are guilty of this, and you look like you're just sitting behind a computer and you have zero social skills and you're not going to be any value to me. And so maybe you will if for other people, but That's
Our clients don't care.
Yeah.
Our clients care about how
No, I don't get asked what loss. Once
I've
you're
never
in
been
it,
asked.
you don't get asked
I've
what
never
law
been
school
asked.
you went to.
Only by other
But
lawyers.
that's the only people that care. So
Only by other lawyers. So at the end of the day,
that junior college thing doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter.
But you learn those other skills of organization and presentation and
while
whatever
they're
else.
filling out their whatever, my worthless piece of paper, I'm looking inside their car because that gives me a look inside their life.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, and your dad takes them to lunch to get inside their life as well. I just look in their car and go, not hiring this person.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, that's what I would say to Caden, who shared with us today. And I think that the family unit that we talked about at the beginning, this is going to be interesting because, these our two olders here are interestingly talented and have a lot more Jedi Knight powers than they think.
Sure.
You people
And where we were at their age.
Wow. I mean, you people are bright. Now, make your bed.
Can you combine that
Wash your car
with the part of the duty
Force
part?
yourself to make 50% of your meals. Force yourself. Yeah, you got a mom that probably cooks good. I didn't, but it doesn't matter. I still ate whatever crap she made. But I still force myself to make. I'm at 80%. I like to make 80% of what we eat. About that, I don't. I want to be sustaining, self-sufficient. So anyway, my point is if you force yourself to do just some of these things right now, like a make bed, keep your domain good, your car good, you force yourself to wake up at this time because you don't like to be in a hurry. You want to start your day kind of chilling, I promise you will be where you see yourself in 10 years. But then you're going to also want to kind of picture that too. But that said, I'd say success and going somewhere would be a good enough goal. Wouldn't you?
At least, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's I've always been forward thinking, and that's another thing that it helps me eliminate a lot of the anxiety in life if I have a goal and I have a path to get there.
And it never looks like you thought it
It
would.
always goes in turns and whatever.
It never
else.
looks like you thought it would. But you kind of start to like the ride.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay. We done.
Cheers.
Mate out.